guys, CRL Rosberg back at it again for another video. This time we're finally back with AOR. I'm getting very sloppy with these videos, I'm gonna be honest. There's just a lack of motivation making them. I've just gotta be honest really, there's no point in me just being around the bush saying, oh, I ain't got time. I've got plenty of time, I've gotta be honest. Editing the video, I'm quick with it. Like, I had this video edited, I think after, like on Tuesday, I would say, so like 2 days after AOR, but commentating, it's just so much work. I'm just not a massive, like, commentator. I guess that's a pretty sick line out of the last corner. Yeah, commentary just never really has been my thing, but do you know what? You live and learn. You can't really just upload content when I'm not commentating. I did that before and everyone just wanted me to do it again, so we're here. Bahrain, I was actually feeling pretty confident with this one. Qualifying pace and race pace seemed pretty decent. I hadn't done a lot of race pace, or race practice I should say, but qualifying I was feeling quite up for it. As you can see through the first sector, pretty decent, not awful but not great. Taking a bit too much curb on the entry of that corner, so you don't really want to do that Mario karting it through the hairpin. Taking up the curb on the outside sort of helps with traction, I guess. Well, it doesn't blow you up like it did a couple of years ago. Wide line through turns 9, I think that is. I honestly don't know. Coming into the fast right-hander, you're going to be braking at the 50-meter board. I broke a bit early, a little bit conservative. I was a bit cautious, to be honest, because I didn't want to throw away my lap. Obviously flat out through here, flat out 6th gear, don't bother me going into 7th because it makes the rear end a little bit twitchy. And going into the technically this is the penultimate corner, and then there's a little kink, but you know what, we're going to call it the last corner. Braking under the little green bridge, I guess, the green banner. Out of the final corner, not a perfect lap by any stretch of the imagination, but also not a terrible one. I would tell you what my lap is, if I could see it on my screen. But anyway, I had to clear my throat there, I'll just edit that out. Evo on pole, surprise second. Would you expect anything less? Probably not. We banged it with P7, which was pretty good in comparison to what we did in Australia, which was like 13th. So I mean, P7 is quite the improvement to say the least.
We're not seeing any technical issues coming.
Like I said, Bahrain, I was feeling very confident with this race. As I don't really know what just happened there. Yeah, the confidence was pretty high. I know this is a more pad-friendly track, one of very few pad-friendly tracks, I should mention. So realistically, if I did want a podium, it was going to have to be like here or like China. The likelihood of that isn't very high. Realistically, it is only just me, the old bang average pad user who's just turned up in ARF1 in the tier he didn't really belong in. But I need to stop being sarcastic. I'm going to try and do this commentary a little bit more professionally now. Waiting for the rest of the grid to line up as they have lined up. We're waiting on the 5 red lights to start the Bahrain Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. My eye is really itchy, but we're underway. Getting a bit of an average start really, not a fantastic one, but not a bad one. Going around the outside of all the cars, because the outside is OP at Bahrain. And we've minced them more so, as that's Pinecone and Simon that went off track. Pinecone going over the gravel, so we've gone past him. We've gone from 7th to 5th. Having a look at OMG, it's Joe. He defends very aggressively. We go to the outside. I wasn't really planning to make a move on Joe, since I know he's going to be quicker than me throughout the race anyway. But he defends the position nonetheless, and we sit pretty in P5. More so also got ahead of CLG Pinecone. So it's a pretty decent start for us at the moment. I better start the night. Well, actually, the initial launch wasn't that great, which was a bit odd. I think my starts have gotten a little bit worse over time, or everyone else just got better. Probably that option. But we're going to be just trying to hang on to the back of OMG's Joe and CLG Simon. I think Joe's just sitting at the back of Simon. I know Joe didn't get much practice in for this race, so I think think if he was going to just sit pretty behind Simon, that was going to be a good improvement, as more so tries to have a look at my inside. I'm not sure if he was defending from Pinecone or he was legitimately trying to mint me off into turn 1, but we brake late. I think we're one of the latest on the brakes, in all honesty. So we've managed to make that stick. As you can see, Pinecone, he's now ahead of more so. We're still sitting pretty behind Joe in his slipstream and DRS, just carrying us along through this race. Yeah, this was my strategy. I was just going to sit back, allow these guys to do the work for me, as we make a complete mess of that, and then realistically I don't know what I was doing through there, and that's pretty much cost me DRS now. As you can see, Joe streaked off into the distance. Yeah, a lapse of concentration that, and I just made a complete mess of it. So Pinecone, he's quicker than me at the moment. What do I gain from fighting him? Nothing. What do I lose? A lot of time. So we do just let Pinecone through. Also planning to use his DRS and slipstream just to sit with him. Hopefully he'd carry us to Joe and Simon, because considering I was seeing their DRS and slipstream, but there's only there's 4 straights where you can get the slipstream off, and everything else is corners, and some of them are kind of like fast change of direction like it is here. So clearly I had some pace, and Simon and Joe didn't have a lot, considering I was right with them for the first couple of laps. So I know the pace isn't bad, but I know that everyone else is a lot better. I'm so sorry, my throat is doing my absolute head in. I'm gonna take a moment, as my break has been had. Something's just ruining my throat at the moment. Anyway, skipping on to lap 10, as you see Pinecone, he peels into the pits. I continue out for another lap, along with Evo, I believe. Yeah, it was Evo. This is purely because the longer you go, the better your tyres are going to be. I think that's just kind of normally how you would think. But at Bahrain, a lap fresher tyres can make a big difference at the very end of the race. And I was just going off this theory that if I can go longer, even if it's just a lap, 2 laps longer, then I'm going to stand a pretty decent chance at the end. That was the plan, and also fresh mediums out of the pits, they aren't very quick. As you can see, Pinecone only comes out just ahead of me. I was right with him anyway. And you're going to see out of here, at the end of this first sector, I just lose time. My tyres are cold, they take a long time to heat up at Bahrain, weirdly. It feels like it's a lot worse here than it is at any other track. And yeah, it's just... I came up the pits right with him, and now we're second behind him, or 1.1 seconds behind, so... And bouncing all over the kangaroo curb, so... It's a bit odd how this game works at this track, but it is what it is. But I know at the end of the race I'm going to be able to come back at him and hopefully have a go and keep my consistency there. As you can see, final lap, nothing happened. I did start to catch Pinecone by a good amount per lap at the very end, but I didn't quite stay as consistent as I would have hoped. I did make a good couple of errors, and the main reason I picked up my pace as well is because Leopard started coming after me. I'm not surprised if it's a race. Can't you really be surprised? Not really. The 2 Mercedes guys have the best lineup on the grid, and if they don't win every single race this season, it might actually be a bit of a surprise. Coming home P6, not a bad result, not a fantastic one, but considering I came from F2 and I don't belong in F1 really, getting P6, it's not bad. It's a good result, but yeah, not quite sure. I know Eva got second. I think Simon got third. I could be wrong. I want to see what the nationality flag is. Yeah, German. So as you can see, Simon got third, Joe in fourth, Pinecone, and myself, Leopard, Jason, MVP 0, and VSI infamous running up at top 10. Again, not a bad race, not a bad result, but yeah, it's not really the sort of result I wanted. I could have been 5 wins in F2, and Instead, I'm fighting for P6 in F1. But I guess P6 in F1, yeah, I get more clout that way. As you can see, Chinese Grand Prix qualifying. I didn't record my quality lap. You actually might see an up in quality here. I don't know if you will, but this is just a guess at if we can edit this properly. P10, and as you can see, it's a bit of a light drizzle. In qualifying, we were told it was going to be a wet race, or a wet start to the race. So everyone qualified on the ultra softs, thinking, well, what's the point? We're going to be wasting our time if we do qualifying on the slower tyres. Turns out we start on the dry anyway. Doesn't make any sense. It's just the game's logic. So it's just going to be like that, I guess. Waiting for someone to line up on the grid, waiting a very long time. But here we go, second race of this video. 5 red lights, and it's lights out, away we go once again. We get a fantastic launch in comparison to everyone else. Simon just turns into a couple of cars, and he's wiped them out. We go around the outside of 2 more cars, and we're going to try and find the grip on the outside. Trying to swoop it around the outside to have the inside on Pinecone. We can't quite make it stick. Jason's on our outside now. We're going to have the superior line in comparison to Jason anyway, and the superior traction by the sound of it. We get a bit of a tank slapper, but it's all good here. Taking a bit of defensive line into the hairpin, and, well, in one sector we've gone from P10 to P4. What? That's ridiculous. And I didn't expect that at all. My pace at China wasn't that great. Well, in practice it wasn't fantastic, and all of a sudden now I'm P4, and I'm behind the 2 Mercs and CLG Pinecone. We seem to be around Pinecone quite a lot. I was figured this out. As you can see later on into the race, lap 3, the 2 Mercedes boys pulling the gap to Pinecone. I felt like I had a bit more pace in the tank at this point. Myself and Pinecone have a bit of a gap to left behind, and the rest, I guess. And I was fancying a move at this point. I knew I've got the pace on Pinecone at the moment, and like, in these sort of tricky conditions on these tyres, I know I've got the pace to maybe not go with the Mercs, but it maybe get away from Pinecone to help my race. We go up the inside of Pinecone, around the outside of him for turn 3 and 4, struggling on the power, and Pinecone just about slips his way through. We're going to stick it up into hot lap and overtake, trying to see if we can make this move, lay on the brakes, just gliding it up to the inside of the hairpin, and we make the move stick. But Pinecone getting the cut back on into turn 6, I think this is. Around the turn 7 maybe. He's going right round our outside, but I think he runs out a little bit too wide. We're still giving him the space on the inside if he wants to slip back through, but we're going to have the inside for the double left-handers, and we actually make the move stick. That was a good little battle there with Pinecone. A lot of respect had. Didn't squeeze anyone off the track, no contact. Just fair racing, so that's what you like to see. Vlotcha Surprise out there in P2 ahead, behind Evo. And now we've slipped into P3, so we're legitimately in a podium place in our F1, which is mental to think about, but
looks like the weather is going to dry up in about 5 minutes. We're not certain which is the best tyre right now, dries or inters.
Jeff just telling us a bit of shit. I was kind of just asking about the weather, if it's getting worse, or if we should be pitting, I guess, I don't know.
Okay, you may start feeling some significant drop-off in the grip around now.
Clearly not
the data
feeling
suggests
great
the
at
tyres are
the
getting
moment,
quite worn.
which is a bit weird, but as you can see, pitting at the end of whatever lap this, lap 5. Surprise pit the lap before, Evo continues on, and realistically I was just trying to get a bit of an undercut, and to get these tyres warmed up. I wasn't going to make the same mistake as I did in Bahrain. I wanted these tyres heated up, all handy dandy, and we're going to try and build the gap. As you can see, Surprise, he's only just going to get past us now. We're obviously not going to catch him, it's kind of obvious. We've slipped in behind Dralix, but Pinecone did pit. I didn't want to lose too much time to the guys that were actually starting on the softs. Guys like OMG It's Joe was starting on the softs, and so was VSR Infamous. I didn't want to lose too much time there on the better strategy, arguably the race winning, what would normally be the race winning strategy, but that wasn't the case. It's because he kind of just understeering into Drylix after a bit of a dive up the inside of him. But yeah, a little bit desperate there from me, a little bit unfair, but Drylix, he forfeits the place after that. He's on the medium tyres as well, which wasn't the ideal strategy. As you can see later on into that lap, VSC comes out, and Evo is just getting to the pits, and he's going to pit that lap as well. So if we had just stayed out, we were basically getting a free pit stop there, and that could be race changing. But it's not to be. So as you can see, I think, did I have a moment there? I'm not quite sure. We lost a lot of time to Leopard and the cars behind with that strategy. They actually put on the mediums, whereas I put on the softs. I was going for a 2-stop, and a couple other guys were going for the 1-stop. I didn't think a 1-stop was possible. Pitting at the end of lap, as you can see, well, 1-stop wouldn't be possible for me if I was taking lines like that, that's for sure. But I didn't think the 1-stop would be possible from lap 7 to the end. So I just assumed that the 2-stop was going to be the strategy to do. And as you can see, Melanie having a good session there on the exit of the corner. Poked his nose up the inside there, which is a little bit cheeky, but it is what it is. Yeah, I didn't think the 2-stop would be possible. I thought everyone was going to be doing the 2-stop, but clearly I was wrong, because Surprise put on the softs as well, so I was kind of just copying him. As you can see, it's only the fastest lap of the race, but this is because the rain has stopped. We're all getting a bit quicker now. So the top 5 are all just going to be setting new fastest laps of the race. As you can see, getting past B Ferrer, bit of an easy move. As you can see here, we've actually cut some stream footage. This is because the way I record my videos, I use a USB connected to my Xbox, and I can record an hour that way. I didn't have that much space. It said when I was going to start the recording that I can only record for about half an hour, so I was like, oh Nelly, that's not great. So we had to make do with some stream footage for a little bit here. As you can see, Joe getting past me, he had made a pit stop for this soft compound, no, for the medium tyres. Are those medium? Yeah, they're mediums. And he was going to go to the end on that set of tyres, so he'd demoted us from P3 to P4. So we hung around in the podium positions for quite a long time, but sadly we weren't going to stay there. As you can see now, I'm further down the field. This is because I've made a pit stop for the soft compound tyres to continue the 2-stop. And as you can see, we've got CRG Simon behind us, who was a bit of a pile up at the start of the race, and he's got way superior pace, so I wasn't going to fight him, but at the same time I wanted to get as many points as possible. We were catching P1 Brown, and as you can see, Simon goes for a very late dive up the inside, but we just get a simple cutback, and it was a bit of a very rash move from Simon. It was just costing us time, but clearly he wanted to get a move done, but that was a bit late. Like I said, I think I'm one of the latest on the brakes in comparison to some others, but yeah, maybe it's a bit of a rash maneuver. But as you can see right here, I'm not fighting it. I'm just going to let him go. If he had the run on me, I would let him go. But as you can see, he brakes early, it feels like, and kind of undoes my momentum out of the corner. But yeah, there we go. And as you can see, Simon, he caught up to Brown. Like I said, he was just way quicker than me. I was going to be a lot slower, as you would expect on the pad. P1 Brown in front of us, he was doing a alternate strategy as well. He's actually on the medium, as you can see. On the well, he moves over to the left-hand side to let us go. Very fair sportsmanship there from my teammate. So thank you, P1 Brown. I was a little bit concerned that because I had a penalty and he had let me go, and I was like, right, okay, this is my time to really push. But turns out Brown had a penalty as well. And speaking of penalties, OMG It's Joe picks up one there as well, which put an end to his charge for the race win. Not like he was going to get it anyway. CRG Evo, superb drive to get P1. Joe was second, surprise third. VSR Infamous with that alternate strategy, Simon Softs comes home in P4. And the CRG Simon, LCR Leopard, myself, and P1R Brown rounding out that top 7, I believe that is. Well, another Mercedes wins for the 3rd race in a row. Again, it's not a surprise, but it's not a Mercedes 1-2, as Joe, with his alternate strategy, bottling qualifying, was actually gifted him perhaps P2, and that's kind of how it is. You can see the race results. It was actually top 8 when I said P1R Brown, but Pinecone, and also rounding up the top 10. Jason, as you can see, not getting any points, although he was quite far up the field at the start. Yeah, there we go. That is the Chinese Grand Prix and Bahrain. We've actually done Austria as I record this commentary. That's how long it's taken for me to do it. I can only apologise, and I know this video is a mess. My throat has just been acting up for some reason. I don't know what's wrong. I apologise for the lack of uploads. There's a lot of content that I should be getting out there, but it's just so much work, especially, and it takes so long to get done that I just can't be bothered. I should be starting to get bothered, as I've now actually hit 700 subscribers, which I can only thank you guys for, despite the channel going into a bit of a slump at the moment, but I guess that happens from time to time. But yeah, thank you guys for sticking around, and to the loyal viewers that watch anything I upload. I know I upload some absolute dog shit, but you guys stick with me, and I can only thank you for that. Your support means a lot. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. I'll try and get Austria's out as soon as possible. I shouldn't say that because I know it's not going to be out for another month. Thank you guys for watching. Like the video if you did enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new for more League Racing content. And I will see you guys in my next video. Cheers.